can't. This is bad. This is bad. I'm gonna open this stream on my phone. Let's see. Apologies for what is going on here and how bad my Wi-Fi is or this website is. I want to see what's going on here. All right, whatever. We're here. We're talking Knicks. We're talking Celtics. The fourth matchup between these teams tonight. It's been an absolute bloodbath in the season thus far between these two teams. 63 points combined. The Knicks have lost to the Celtics by in the first 3 games of the season. This is a huge, huge game for a multitude of reasons. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the sky is falling, the world is ending if the Knicks lose this game. I think it would be so much bigger if they won the game than if they lost the game for the team's confidence. If they win the game, it is a huge boost going into the most crucial part of the season, especially with Jalen Brunson's injury and him just getting back. This team needs to click. They need to click at the correct time so they come back, get into the playoffs, and they are firing on all cylinders. Normally, I tell you the last few games of the season mean jack. We saw in previous years, Obi Toppin put up 45 points, Quentin Grimes go off in these meaningless games. That's not the case for this year. And we've already heard from Tom Thibodeau that he will not be resting the starters in these last few games. And for what reason? Why would they? They play the Celtics tonight. They play the Cavs again as well. So these are the two teams that have had the Knicks number more than any other teams in the NBA that the Knicks will be facing off against. Again, with Jalen Brunson just returning from injury, no wonder why Tom Thibodeau will not be resting the starters. And people are all up in arms about it. Cry me a river, all right? Normally, I'd be on your side with this. This Knicks team needs to click right now. And what better time to start than tonight against the Celtics? The Celtics, winners of 11 of their last 12. Knicks winners of 5 of their last 6. Listen, this Celtics team has looked like the best team in the NBA over the last 3 to 4 weeks. Keep in mind, they just recently got back Jaylen Brown. It's been 2 weeks, but he was out for a couple of weeks before that. They got Jaylen Brown back. He has yet to play over 30 minutes since his return in late March. This Celtics team, I mean, listen, what more can you say about them? They're the defending champs. They are the team to beat in the NBA. They look, I'm not going to say better than they did last year, but they look amazing. They look terrific. The Knicks, on the other hand, when they play the best teams in the league, they look terrible. But, of course, this is a different Knicks team than the last time they faced off in February. Because the Knicks have OG Anunoby. And OG Anunoby has looked like a top 20 player in the NBA. I even said on my TikTok he might be the best two-way player in the NBA over the last 8 games. I don't think that's hyperbole. So you have another player emerging as a top offensive weapon to take the pressure off Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. That is extremely important. And it's another facet of this Knicks team that they didn't have the last time these two teams played. So that's important as well. But tonight, in a game, I saw the Knicks were favored at one point when I checked earlier today. I guess once the Celtics announced that all of the players that were game-time decisions will be playing, I get why the line moved. It moved 3 points. Knicks were favored by 1.5. Now the Celtics are favored by 1.5. The Knicks are at home. The Knicks have been coasting. Again, as I said, winners of 5 of their last 6. That says less the line right now. It says less about how well the Knicks are playing and more about how good the Celtics have been. As I said, the best team in the NBA over the last 3 weeks. The best team. Even better than OKC, who I think is far and away the best team in the league. I think they're better than Boston. And I've said it consistently throughout this season. And now they're on pace to win 68, 69 games. Way more than the Celtics. I digress. But I think it is just a huge test for the Knicks. A huge test. Jalen Brunson, he's only been back for 1 game. Will his ankle respond well to the type of blitzing that the Celtics give Jalen Brunson every time they play, whether it be Derek White on his ass, Drew Holiday on his ass, in his face. It doesn't matter who they throw it. It could be Jaylen Brown as well. They've got 3 guys in that starting lineup who could match up and switch well on Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson last year, in the last game against the Celtics, very similar situation. The Knicks didn't necessarily fare well against the Celtics the first 3 games. They played them in the 4th in April. Knicks fans love to talk about that one last year in the playoffs. Hey, the Knicks are good enough. They could have beat Boston. We'll see if the Knicks are able to, accomplish the same feat as last year, where, as I said, they got embarrassed in the first 3 games, and then they won the 4th game with Jalen Brunson putting up a generational performance. Do I think that that's likely to repeat itself? No. No, I do not. If you saw how Jalen Brunson looked in the Knicks' last game, he didn't look like himself. He did not look like himself. OG Anunoby had to put up a generational performance with Suni Lee in the first row for the Knicks to comfortably win their last game. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's all sunshine and rainbows when it comes to the Knicks. It is important that for myself that I see that the Knicks tonight look like a solid team. They are 0-7, and it's repeated time and time again, whether it be against the major talking heads in sports media, by Knicks fans, by casuals around the league, casual fans around the league. The Knicks have simply not played well enough against the top teams in the NBA. The Celtics are one of them. What better time to beat one of those teams than tonight? The Knicks had a couple of days off. It's not like they're playing a back-to-back. They have 1 day off. It's not like they're playing a back-to-back like they played 3 out of 4 times against the Cavs. And they'll play again in a few days. The Knicks have a good chance tonight. Now, what we have seen, as I've said repeatedly, 63-point differential in the first 3 games that these teams have played against each other. 63 freaking points. 63. The Knicks average 116 points per game. They have not cracked 110 in any one of those games. The game in which they looked the best defensively or offensively was the first game they played. The Celtics just happened to almost set the NBA record for threes made in a game. In the last game they played, the Knicks played extremely well in that third quarter. Cut the lead to 6, I believe. Then Derek White came down, hit a 3, and that was it. The Celtics did not shoot the ball well in that first half against the Knicks. They were still up double digits. The Celtics have proven that they can beat the Knicks a multitude of ways. That if the Knicks don't bring their absolute A game offensively against the Celtics, they will have an extremely tough time even competing in said game. Not winning, but putting up a fight in that game. And the Knicks have shown so much throughout this season. They just get off the terrible starts every once in a while. The issue is when you play a team like the Celtics, when you play a team like the Cavs, you can't get off to a terrible start. You will put yourself in too big of a hole, and you will not win that game. These teams are too good. So, as I said earlier, it is amazing what we have seen from OG Anunoby, specifically over the last 8 games, averaging 26 points on unbelievable efficiency. He has turned himself into one of the best offensive options over the last couple of weeks in the NBA. It's not hyperbole how well he is playing. So it's not going to need to be on the backs of Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns for the Knicks to win this game. They could finally take a step back and allow OG to cook. Allow Mikal to cook. This Knicks So I don't want to hear anything about Huck Porty. And as I mentioned earlier on my stream, my Wi-Fi freaking sucks, or this website sucks. So if I keep cutting in and out, please stick with me. This should correct itself, and I shouldn't be cutting out every 5 seconds. And if it does, I'm just going to end this and then off myself and jump off my balcony. But this Knicks team, again, as I said, is extremely healthy right now. You know, the excuse, Mitchell Robinson's not healthy, can't be made anymore. It can't. Not that I thought it would have made much of, if any, difference in those first 3 games against the Celtics, but he's back. So maybe he could prove me otherwise and have a really solid game tonight. I thought before this season that the Knicks matched up extremely well against the Celtics. The reason why they went out and acquired Mikal Bridges, the reason why they paid what some believe to be an exorbitant amount of money to re-sign OG Anunoby was for matchups like this. It was for games against teams like the Celtics, teams like the Thunder, with amazing offensive wings, guys who could take over at any given moment in any given game. Because as it stood, Jalen Brunson being a potential option to face off against a Jaylen Brown, a Derek White, was simply not good enough. You couldn't just stick him on Drew Holiday, who isn't as much of an offensive option and weapon like Derek White is, which you can do now. And I'm not here to discredit Drew Holiday, one of the best defensive players, one of the best defensive guards in NBA history. He doesn't really have it offensively still. He doesn't. So now you have the option to stick Brunson on Drew Holiday. Of course, they're going to run him in a million pick and rolls. Towns, too. What we have seen against the Celtics is Karl-Anthony Towns get absolutely destroyed in the pick and roll. That is the one thing that I'm looking towards tonight as being a major test for the Knicks going forward. If Cat cannot continue to defend the pick and roll, I just don't know how you could, even with everything that OG Anunoby has provided you offensively, with how good the Knicks have looked over the past couple of weeks, think the Knicks have any chance to beat the Celtics or beat the Cavs, who will continuously put him in the pick and roll action. The drop coverage that he is consistently in against these teams, it's infuriating to watch. How many open threes Kristaps Porzingis gets a game against the Knicks because Cat isn't dropped, or Al Horford gets. You know, it's not like the Celtics employ a Mitchell Robinson who can't shoot the ball. Their 2 main bigs shoot extremely well from 3. Those are the guys that Karl-Anthony Towns is, for whatever reason, in drop against. Seems like he has zero idea what he's doing against the pick and roll. And what you will see tonight is the Celtics continue to attack him, to continue to get the switches that they want with Brunson on Tatum, Brunson on Brown. They will do that time and time again tonight. And it will get infuriating at times. But again, it's the one thing that I'm looking for as a test for the Knicks going into the playoffs. So they can't defend the pick and roll in 8 games against the top teams in the NBA. They get blitzed in each and every single one of these games. Barely any of them are close, besides the first game that the Knicks played against the Cavs, in which they had that game won. They blew it in the fourth quarter. Then what makes you think that this team could do it in the playoffs? What makes you think that? There's a reason why I don't have high hopes going into the playoffs. And it's because the Knicks employ 2 inept defenders in their starting lineup, in Brunson and Towns. And it's very easy to attack one or the other, or maybe even both, at any given point in a game. The Knicks have Mitchell Robinson. They could put Mitchell Robinson in for Karl-Anthony Towns. They can put him in alongside Karl-Anthony Towns. But you still got 2 bad defenders in your lineup. You still got 2 of them. So it takes, it adds a lot of pressure to OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, and Mikal Bridges to pick up the slack defensively. I'd love to see Deuce McBride. I mean, I've seen increasingly, more and more. I mean, you saw it a lot during the season. You see it even more now with more data out, how these Knicks lineups play together, their net ratings. The Knicks' best net rating lineup has Deuce McBride in with the normal starting lineup instead of Mikal Bridges. I would love to see that lineup for at least 5 to 6 minutes a night. And then you put Mikal Bridges in with the second unit, let him facilitate offensively. Take that patented fadeaway that he likes to take so much that he doesn't get a lot of when he's in the starting lineup, and maybe see how that works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Obviously, I'm not advocating for Tom Thibodeau to put Deuce McBride in the starting lineup instead of Mikal Bridges. But if Deuce McBride looks really good with the starting lineup, why wouldn't you want to see that for 5 to 10 minutes a game? Just test it out. This is when you test it out the last few games of the season, especially with the health of this Knicks team finally at the point where you'd like it to be. So I'd like to see that alongside Karl-Anthony Towns not getting absolutely brutalized in the pick and roll. But as I mentioned, if you're just joining now, I'm Bryce Gelman. I talked about, the fact that the Celtics are the best team in the NBA over the last 3 to 4 weeks. Winners of 11 of their last 12. They put up a valiant effort in trying to take the number 1 seed away from the Cleveland Cavaliers, but it was never a surmountable deficit in the standings. It was an impossible task for the Celtics to come back. And they did, they put up a good effort. They did. It wasn't close at the end of the day, but I think it was down to 3.5 games in between the Celtics and the Knicks. Now it's 8. Celtics have an 8-game lead over the Knicks. And they did that over the last month. Of course, Jalen Brunson went out with an injury, the ankle injury, about a month ago today. So that played a factor into it. The Knicks were still above 500. But they weren't 11 winners of their 11 of their last 12. And even more than that, if you look back 20 games, the Celtics record of the last 20 games, probably 17 wins, 18 wins. So, listen, I think the Knicks get a win tonight? No, I don't. And I hate to sound like a pessimist after everything that I've told you. After all the things that I've underlined as important in this game, I still don't believe it's a huge deal if the Knicks lose this game. They can't get blown out, though. They cannot get blown out. There is no more deflating feeling for a team like they'd have if they lose this game by 20, 30 points at the end of a season. A culmination of 4 atrocious performances against the team you thought you'd be competing with for an Eastern Conference title going into the season. After all the moves you made, after the multitude of draft picks that you gave up for Mikal Bridges, after the huge contract that he gave OG Anunoby, which actually looks good now, but in hindsight at the time, hindsight's 2020. At the time, you thought that it was a terrible move. I thought it was an overpay. It is not. It is the furthest thing from an overpay. It might be an underpay with how well Anunoby's been playing. But I think that OG, playing as well as he has offensively, unlocking this side of his game that we haven't really seen. The last time I felt this good about OG offensively was before him and Julius Randle got hurt January 27th of last year. I mean, that game against the Heat, it was where the season was lost for the Knicks. Any real hopes of them competing for a championship or an Eastern Conference title was lost on that day. And what we saw in the month that OG was playing alongside Julius Randle was a guy that really unlocked a different part of his game. You saw the fadeaway. You saw the high efficiency from the field. We're seeing that from OG every night now. It isn't like every 3 or 4 games where you see, oh, well, there's a flash. Hopefully he can continue that. We're seeing it night in and night out. We see him doing 360s with Suni Lee in the first row. You got that Main Street. That's hilarious, by the way. I love those edits. I mean, when have we ever seen OG do half the things he did in that last game against the Suns? But this guy, I mean, seriously, has impressed me on an insane level. Like, it's hard to believe what he's doing off the dribble every single night. Like, where the hell did this come from? Where did it come from? Where did this confidence come in transition? Where did this confidence come using his body against any defender that you put in his path? You know, we've seen the physicality on defense. We've seen it from time to time on the offensive end, especially when OG catches the ball in the paint, right under the hoop. He bodies guys out of the way. Now you're seeing it on the drive with him attacking the basket, with him bullying guys in transition. It is unbelievable what OG Anunoby is offering the Knicks right now on the offensive side. Unbelievable. It is. And it is the only thing giving me hope for them going into the playoffs. That hope could be dashed if this Knicks team doesn't put up a fight against the Celtics tonight and the Cavs in a couple of games. Like, it simply will not be good enough for me to make me have any sort of hope, to make me believe that this Knicks team can pull off what we all thought was possible going into the season. That is why this game is so essential. As I keep mentioning, if they lose the game, it is what it is. You know, you regroup. Obviously, I don't feel the same if they get their asses kicked. They get blown out tonight. If Jason Tatum puts up another 30, 40 booger, 30 piece, then you're in trouble. Then you don't have much hope in a second round series against Celtics. Because that's who they're going to be facing off against. They're going to play a gritty-ass series against the Pistons. And you think that they win that series. If they do, they advance to face the Celtics. In a series in which I don't know if they'll have a chance. We will know after tonight. We certainly will. That's why I think this is so essential for the Knicks. And again, I'm not sitting here, I'm not going to tell you the sky is falling if they lose this game. Especially if they put up a fight. Can't get off to a bad start. They get off to a bad start, they will not win this game. They will get blown out if they get off to another bad start. They can't fall behind to these great teams in the NBA. They can do it against a team like the Sixers. They can do it against a team like the Wizards. Can't do it against the Thunder. Can't do it against the Cavs. They can't do it against the Celtics. So we'll see tonight. We will see. This game will be on TNT. It is not on MSG, unfortunately, like it usually is, obviously. And it makes no sense. With TNT, the Knicks don't have MSG broadcast, but when it's on ESPN, they do. Doesn't make much sense. But I don't know who's calling that game. Hopefully not Reggie Miller. I mean, please save us all from having to listen to Reggie Miller every freaking time the Knicks play. I mean, Turner really loves shoving it down our throats. And Reggie Miller, of course, will be joining the commentary team, I believe, of NBC next year. So you get more of him going forward. So enjoy it tonight. Let's hope that a Ranger, my dad says the Rangers are on MSG. That's the reason why. They would be on MSG too. I don't think that's the reason. I think it's a nationally televised game. The Rangers wouldn't be on MSG if the Knicks were on MSG, if there wasn't a nationally televised game. Maybe that was scheduled between the NHL and the NBA. I have no idea. But yeah, let's see the Knicks get off to a good start tonight. Let's see OG continue to bring it offensively. And hopefully the Knicks get a win tonight, because I will be very disappointed. And again, we'll not have much hope going into the playoffs if the Knicks are not able to pull off a victory tonight. So we'll talk to you all later this week. Let's go Knicks. Let's go Knicks. And the Yankees, I mean, I didn't want to talk about that. This is all about the Knicks. The Yankees freaking suck, man. Blown out by the Tigers in Detroit. A putrid effort in the last 3 games for the Yankees. We'll talk about that more this week. Of course, the Giants, the final stretch before the draft. Rumors flying about Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter. Talk about that later this week as well. But for now, let's go Knicks, and hopefully they get a win tonight. Peace.